Hare Krishna. Today, during this auspicious Kartik month and Bhishma Panchka, the last few days of Kartik month, we are reading from the Srimad Bagvatam. And we had left off at text 44, where Lord Brahma now had come back. Right? He had come back in a few moments' time from Brahma Lok, but 1 year had passed by on earth because of the time difference. Just like how when we go from one place to another, there's a time difference. Similarly, there is a time difference between this earth and how slow time moves in Brahmalok. In Brahmalok, only a few moments passed, but earth, because time is moving faster, 1 year had passed. So Lord Brahma came back and he became mystified, right? He was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power, Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj says, right? Because he wanted to mystify Krishna, all pervading, the supreme personality of Godhead. Sometimes a lot of people think, is Krishna really God? Right? What what if Shiva is God? What if Brahma is God? Sometimes a lot of people are falling into this confusion, just like Lord Brahma also was confused. Because if there was anyone else who was God, right? There are demigods, but if there was anyone else, then our acharyas, our spiritual master would have definitely told us. Because based upon all of the scriptures, everyone is saying Krishna is God. Even Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj is saying, "Main bekyo Mohan sabte ucha." Right? That Krishna is God. We are seeing through these pastimes in the Bhagavatam, Krishna is God. A lot of times we also get confused like Lord Brahma.
Is at front door.
We get confused like Lord Brahma. That what if someone else is God? We don't know who is God. No. In fact, Sri Prabhupada also describes that he asked his disciples one day, he was sitting with them, what is the sign that Krishna is God? The disciples, of course, first they said, Prabhupada, because you are saying you are our spiritual master, you are our guru. Right? So you are saying Krishna is God, that's why Krishna is God. Prabhupada said, that is correct, but give me another reason. Then some people started to quote the shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. Krishna says, that also is true, no, but give me another reason. Then Srila Prabhupada himself said that when you serve Krishna, you feel bliss. Right? Not happiness, not satisfaction, nothing. You are in bliss. You feel that bliss, that ecstasy, which we do not feel. We may feel happiness, we may feel content, we may feel satisfied when we worship demigods or anything, but that bliss, that Anand, Satchit Anand, the form of Krishna, that is very hard to, that is, you know, not possible to feel anywhere else. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. So over here, Lord Brahma, who became bewildered himself, right? Otherwise, if Brahma was God, if Shiva was God, then at this time, they wouldn't be able to do anything about this. But Lord Brahma himself became bewildered. He himself became mystified. In fact, there's another pastime where Lord Brahma goes to meet Lord Krishna in Dwarka. And when Lord Brahma reaches the gate, the security guard stops him. And Brahma tells him, please go tell Krishna that Brahma has come. This is many years after this pastime happened. When Lord Brahma came and the security guard went inside, he told Krishna, Krishna, Lord Brahma is here to see you. Krishna said, which Brahma? So at that point, the guardsman came back out and asked, Brahma, which Brahma are you? Brahma became mystified again. What does this question mean? So he told the guardsman, I am the Brahma of this universe, the four-headed Brahma. And then the security said, okay, wait here, let me go and check. And then at that point, the security guard went inside and told Krishna that the Brahma of this universe, the four-headed Brahma, is here. He said, oh, okay, let him in. Krishna already knew he is all pervading. He knows the past, the present, and the future. But to display, right? To show Brahma, who at times feels like, look at me, I am Brahma, I am in charge of all of these living beings in this universe. But he also, right, is only Brahma for 100 years. Other than that, then he again becomes a living being. So Krishna wanted to show that to Brahma. So when Brahma came inside, he asked questions, he bowed down to Krishna, he offered his obeisances. He then, he had questions for Krishna. He asked those questions, and then he said, Krishna, before I leave, I have one more question for you. If you give me permission, may I please ask? Krishna said, yeah, go ahead. That time, Krishna, at that time, Lord Brahma actually asked Lord Krishna that you sent the guardsman back to ask that which Brahma am I? You already know. Am I not the only Brahma? Krishna said, no. And at that time, Krishna actually ordered all of the Brahmas to come. And you will not believe there were Brahmas all the way from one-headed Brahma to million heads of headed Brahmas. And they all came at that time into Dwarka, into the palace. And all of them, as soon as they came in front of Krishna, bowed down, offered their obeisances to Krishna. The Brahma of this universe, the four-headed Brahma, again became mystified. That, oh my God. They said that not just the whole palace, the entire Dwarka was filled with Brahmas. Because that's how many millions and billions of universes there are, and there are millions and billions of Brahma in each universe. Right? So that Brahma who himself has been mystified, has been bewildered so many times about Krishna, about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If Brahma, they say, created Vishnu, created Krishna, then Brahma would have been explaining to Krishna all of this, but over here, the other way around is happening. Brahma is constantly getting bewildered. That goes to show that what knowledge we are receiving in this lifetime about Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like how a company has the CEO at the topmost position, right? The entire CEO of all of the universes is Krishna. This simple point, it's so simple, yet we do not accept it. We also become Brahma, we tend to get bewildered. Let us, with complete faith, complete dedication, without even a single cell doubting this, accept that, yes, Krishna is God. Krishna is Godhead. That's why the word Godhead has come. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, because there is only one who can be the head. Have you ever heard that meet him? He's a co-CEO. No, there's only one. They can be co-founders, but even within the founders, there will be one person who will be CEO, one person will be another title. Two founders will never hold the title of co-CEO. Right? So simply need to accept that without any doubt in our mind. Otherwise, Maya is there to bewilder us. So we'll read text 45. So, as the darkness of snow on a dark night, and the light of a glowworm and the light of the day have no value. Right? When it snows, we have experienced that in the US, right? In the dark night, when it snows, it feels very light outside. There's no darkness at all. And then you know how in the night we see those glow worms that light up. Right? In the daytime also they are lighting up, but because of the sun we cannot see them. So both of those, the darkness on a snowy night and the glowworm in the day, have no value. Similarly, the mystic power of an inferior person who tries to use it against a person of great power is unable to accomplish anything. Instead, the power of the inferior person is diminished. Right? The power of the inferior person is diminished. Over here, even Sukdev Goswami Maharaj is saying that who is inferior? Brahma is inferior to Krishna. And this is not made up. This is what all of our acharyas, what all of the Sanatan Dharma is saying. All the scriptures are saying. Otherwise, when Maharaj Parikshit had only 7 days to live, all of the saints from everywhere around the whole world came. And they all recommend. It was not just a recommendation of one and there was a debate and one person won. No, it was a recommendation of all of the sadhus that if Parikshit Maharaj has only 7 days left to live, the most important, what is it? The most important and valuable activity that he can do is listen to Krishna Katha, develop love for Krishna, hear about the glories of Krishna. Right? So just like how over here Brahma's power became very inferior, became diminished in front of Krishna. That is what happens to all of us when we think, oh, this is God, that is God. No. Even the demigods must be laughing at us. Look at these living beings. They can worship Krishna and just get out of all of this suffering. But what are they asking? Oh, just help me get through this suffering. Because this whole cycle in this world is sukh and dukh. Today there is sukh, tomorrow there is dukh. Tomorrow there is, day after tomorrow there is sukh, then there is dukh. We're asking for our temporary life, right? Dukhalyam ashashvatam, that the temporary sorrows go away. But our main sorrow of birth and death, there's only one person who can remove that. Krishna. And we should pray to that Krishna. Please, please, remove me from the cycle of birth and death. In text 46, Dev Goswami Maharaj continues. Then, while Lord Brahma looked on, all the calves and the boys tending them immediately appeared to have complexions of the color of bluish rain clouds and to be dressed in yellow silken garments. Just imagine what all is going on with Lord Brahma. Today, if people start seeing like this, they will call it hallucinations. They will see you're hallucinating. You have some mental health issues. But in front of Brahma's eyes, that supreme creator, right? The person who created this entire universe, all of the living beings, right? Come under his purview, like how a director or a manager has 200, 300 people, right? So he knows what they all look like, what work they're doing, what team they're assigned to, and everything. And just like as if you're looking at them and then they all are changing. As Brahma was looking at the calves and the cow and the boys, they immediately, their complexion began to become bluish and dressed in yellow silken garments. They were dressed as Rajvasis, as cowherd boys. Somebody's wearing a dhoti, somebody has a torn kurta, somebody doesn't have a proper banyan on, right? Somebody is just walking, but all of them became beautiful with bluish skin color, and then with garments, with silken garments, as if they were children of kings. In 47 and 48, right? What happens then? All those personalities had 4 arms right in front of Brahma. All of them had 4 arms, holding conch shell, disc, mace, and lotus flower in their hands. They wore helmets on their heads, right? The crowns like that. Earrings on their ears and garlands of forest flowers around their necks. On the upper portion of the right side of their chest was an emblem of the goddess of fortune, Mahalakshmi. Furthermore, there were armlets on their arms, the Kastuba gem around their necks, which were marked with 3 lines like a conch shell. Right? We read this every day, even in Damodarashtakam. Right? Trire Kanka Kanta. That Krishna, when he was running from Mother Yashoda, that Yashoda Biyoluka Ladava Manam. He was running from Yashoda. His chest began to beat fast. He was wearing a necklace, right? Which were marked with and a gem on there, which were marked with 3 lines like a conch shell. That also was moving up and down and trembling. So if Krishna is wearing, all of these boys and the calves assumed they changed their form that time to become that because Krishna had expanded himself into all of those forms. Now you will say that Krishna has 2 hands. Over here they have 4 hands. Right? Krishna, that is his original supreme form with 2 hands, which not many people understand or get the opportunity to see. To everyone else, Krishna is in the 4-handed form, but to his devotees, he drops those 2 hands and he just comes in his 2-handed form. Right? So, what darshan we have today in the temples of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Sham Sundar, with their 2-handed forms, is very rare and very beautiful and blissful. Just look at the darshan of Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Every day, Radha Vrindavan Chandra is performing a pastime. On Bapuji's birthday, when all the devotees were singing, chanting, dancing for Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Chandra kept his hand on a lakuti, on a stick. His lotus hand was kept there. All of a sudden, imagine from the morning, from the time the Shringar was done at 7, 8 a.m. in the morning, till 8, 9 p.m. in the night, that Lakuti is just standing there. And all of a sudden, something happens. The devotee says that even Radha Vrindavan Chandra was dancing on Bapuji's appearance day. That's why the Lakuti fell. All of a sudden, if something has been in the place all day, right? It's not like it will just magically fall for no reason. They said that Radha Vrindavan Chandra was resting his lotus hand on the Lakuti. The Lakuti immediately around when everyone was dancing, chanting, right? It flipped over and fell from Radha Vrindavan Chandra's hands. His lotus hands, because how we lift our hands to dance, it is Radha Vrindavan Chandra also was lifting his hand. And if you're carrying a walking stick or anything, right, that is only one single stick, and if you put your hand on it, it will not fall. As soon as you lift up your hand, it falls. Right? So that 2-handed form of Krishna is for all of his devotees. Which otherwise, then everyone is worshipping the 4-handed form. That's why even if you see in the Vaikuntha planets, there is Krishna himself, right, who expands into these 4-handed forms. But that supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna in Golokdham, has that 2-handed form. Even when Krishna showed his Virat Roop, his universal form to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Arjuna became very scared and he said, please come back to your original form. Then Krishna came back to the four-handed form. And Arjuna even said, Krishna, I want to see that two-handed form of yours, because that's what the devotees love to see. So then even Krishna dropped those other two hands, came into his two-handed forms. So all of the boys had become, they, Brahma began to see Krishna and that form in everyone, right? Which they wore armlets in their arms, the Kastuva gem around their necks, which were marked with three lines like a conch shell, and bracelets around their wrist, with bangles on their ankles, ornaments on their feet, and sacred bells around their waist. They all appeared very beautiful. And you'll see all of these descriptions are also how Krishna dresses every day, how his Shringar occurs. Right? He has a crown on his forehead. There are earrings in his ears. There's garlands on Krishna. Right? There are armlets, the necklaces, um, bracelets on the wrist, on the lotus feet, everywhere. Belt around the waist. So that's how, till today, Krishna also dresses for us. That's how his Shringar occurs. Every part of their bodies, from their feet to the top of their heads, was fully decorated with fresh, tender garlands of tulsi leaves offered by devotees engaged in worshipping the Lord by the great pious activities, namely hearing and chanting. So we hear hearing and chanting are the greatest pious activities that we can perform. And Krishna, all of the Krishnas were fully decorated with fresh garlands and tulsi leaves. By who? Right? By devotees performing the greatest pious activities. That means there's nothing more you can do apart from this. Hearing and chanting, hearing the glories of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, and chanting Krishna's name. Like chanting Krishna's name is the most pious activity. Over here, we'll end here today at text 50, where those forms, those Vishnu forms, by their pure smiling, which resemble the increasing light of the moon, and by sidelong glances of their reddish eyes, created and protected the desires of their own devotees, as if by the modes of passion and goodness. Right? So we hear how they were looking, how those, all of those Vishnu forms, how all of them, right, protected, created and protected the desires of their devotees. They protected their devotees because all of the boys that Brahma had taken and gone, if the parents would have found out, they would have been so worried that where are our children, what happened to them, right? And no one would have been blamed Krishna. Because Krishna was left out there, they would at least ask questions. And in the beginning of this chapter, we also read that all of the Gopas, the Gopis, the Sakhas, the cowherd men, all of them loved Krishna more than their children. So even if their children were gone, they wouldn't feel a significant loss because they all loved Krishna more and Krishna was still there. But right, they protect. Everyone also had a desire to get Krishna as their child. So Krishna fulfilled those desires. And he also protected his devotees, that he knew that those kids will come back one day from Brahmalok. Right? He knew that. So he just expanded and took their forms. So he was, so over here, right, as if by the modes of passion and goodness. Krishna is through those modes created and expanded and increased the ecstasy of his devotees more and more and more. So we'll end here and then we'll continue with text 51 tomorrow. And then there are 64 texts of this chapter, I believe. So we will try and finish that before the Kartik month ends on Wednesday. So with that, we'll end here for today and we'll continue tomorrow. Before we end, we'll chant together Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र बिहारी लाल की जय हो। निताई गौर हरि बोल। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। श्री श्री राधा दामोदर की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय।